fourth ventricle. Okay? Then you flip the brain to the base. Okay? And you can see here, these are the eye muscles holding the eye. In the middle, well, I don't see the eye, it's cut off. And here is the side, the optic nerve right there. Okay? Now you see the optic nerve that was severed on this side, unfortunately, but you get the idea. So this was connected here. Okay? This is the optic nerve. Now we look at the other side and you see the other optic nerve, which is connected, if I take away this little fat right here. That's the other sciatic nerve. I'm sorry, what did I say sciatic?
Optic.
Other optic nerve. And you see here the stump that was attached to the eyeball. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You see the stump here?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? That's the stump right there. Okay? Now you have all these two optic nerves, and you have in the middle the connection, which is the optic chiasm. All right? Right here is the optic chiasm. This is the pituitary gland, but unfortunately when you take it off, when you take off the dura mater, which we're going to do right now, it is going to go bye-bye. All right? You can also see from the external surface the olfactory bulb. So these are the bulbs of smell, where the piglet, the sheep is smelling, what comes from there. And I guess that's all we can see from there. Now from here, actually, you can see our friend, the pons, medulla oblongata, and the spinal cord. You can see it from the anterior surface as well. All right? Now, if you look closely here, I'm going to see it further when we take these away. You see the olives of the medulla right there.
Mm-hmm.
See the olives? Right and left, okay? What it splits into two, there's like a little bulge here, little bulge here. This is the olive of El Medulla Oblongata. Alrighty? Now that we have, I don't want to mess your brain, so I'm going to leave it here, or anybody's brain for that purpose. Now I'm going to leave them here and show you how to dissect the brain. So consider that this is a whole brain, okay? And then you have this part here, which goes technically underneath here, and this goes here, and this goes here. Actually, it's upside down. Okay, never mind. This goes here. When you know anatomy, my friend, you never go out of business. You always find your way back, no matter what. Okay? You can put the pieces of the puzzle together at any point. Now we're putting these together as much as possible, which I believe seems not doable. But, we're getting there. Okay? And then this goes right here. Okay? Okay? Now, this is the picture that you saw here. This is botched, that's not me. Alright, and this used to be covering from each side. Okay? Now, we leave this for a second, and I'll show you where the cuts are supposed to be. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Oh well. I told you stay where you are. Alright, so you're going to get a little snip with a scalpel, okay? You're going to do snip here, a little puncture, because this is hard to get with the scissors. Scissors are not very sharp, and they're not supposed to puncture. So if you go deep with this, you're going to go all the way to the brain. It's so very soft. So you're going to get your scalpel and make a little puncture here, and then lift up the dura mater and keep cutting, as if you're cutting tissue. Okay? You want to make a new dress. Okay? You're going to go like that and stay in the air. Okay? You reach all the way, and then you see a connection here. Okay? You're going to sever it. Okay? And this whole thing will come off. Alright? It will show like so. This came off. Alright? Now, if you go here, you will see the triangle that we talked about. You see that little triangle there? Yes? You're getting the concept?
Yes.
There is a cover like the American umbrella, okay? and then the two lower layers come together, the innermost layer come together and make a triangular shape structure. So when you cut, you see the triangular shape structure right there. See it? Yeah? So this is how it was made. Alrighty? And then it goes everywhere, whatever you see, it gets bigger. You see, now here you see it very clearly. There's an opening right there. Okay, I can put the whole probe in there, here. Here is the whole probe, okay? Now we can see it, or at least the scissors. Okay? Right there. Easy? Now we're done with this. We are going to take off the durameter. So as said, we're going to make a cut here, connect, okay? And peel off the durameter from each side, which will come off like this, right? So this was here, come off like this, right? Okay? And then this is the hard part, okay? Because when you go here, everything will come off thin, right? But when you get to this area, it becomes impossible to not to damage any structures. But before that, you're going to identify the structures, all right? So if you put it like so, this is the pituitary gland. You see a little bulge in the middle, and I can see it right here, okay? That's the pituitary gland. Don't worry about it. You're going to take it away anyways, right? So you're going to cut, and here is where the hurdle will be, underneath here. See this part here? This is as thick as my finger. It's very hard to go through, right? So you have to slowly but surely do like what I did here, okay? So you got to get to the side here and go right in the middle and go slowly until tuck, you hear something that gave way, okay? And eventually you're going to cut it from here, and you're going to cut it from there. And remember, it's going to be attached to this. I mean, it's not just separate. You're not going to peel it off like an orange. No. It is attached here, and you will see very clearly the two cranial nerve number 3s coming out from here and pulling on the durameter before you get it, which is the oculomotor nerves. They're thick enough to see them. They're like as thick as one branch of this scissors here. One blade. Alrighty? Now we have the brain naked, okay? And you should examine the cerebellum. When you put the cerebellum like so, okay, you have the vermis of the cerebellum, which is the structure that looks like a worm, right in the middle, and you will see two ala, or two wings. So this is called the butterfly of the cerebellum, right? Remember, cerebellum is the baby or the small brain, okay? Now we get into cutting the brain. This is the longitudinal fissure, okay? And remember, in the longitudinal fissure, our friend, the falx cerebri, was sleeping all day, okay? So this is how it looked like. This is how it is before it gets cut. All right? Okay. Now we're going to get into cutting the brain and make two sagittal sections, or one sagittal section, make two hemispheres, right?
You pointed out.
Going to come as much as possible, get as much as possible to the middle of the brain, and with your scalpel, okay, you're going to go through the longitudinal fissure and do one cut. So you're going to go like this and keep going back. Okay, you don't go up and down, up and down, up and down. That's not good, right? It's not cheese. It feels like cheese, but it's going to be messed up. Okay? Unless you like to eat messed up cheese. Now, you're going to cut this into two, okay? And eventually you're going to see the most important part that will be identified next week, all right? Sagittal section of the brain, and you have the following. This is the cerebellum, and these are the arbor vitae cerebelli, all right? And this is the tent-like structure, which is the ceiling or the roof of the fourth ventricle. Okay? Oh, it's so funny. Hello. All right, and you go here. This is the corpus callosum, the white structure. All right? This here is the cavity of the lateral ventricle. And if you have good eyes, you should be able to see blood vessels here, which are not really blood vessels, but these are This is the choroid plexus, where you have the ependymal cells that secrete cerebrospinal fluid, right? So you'll see a tuft of soft tissue there that looks like vessels. They are technically ependymal cells, right here. Okay? Now you see here the border or the delineation of the third ventricle. Okay? Now, remember what we said about the third ventricle. There is a thalamus on one side and the thalamus on the other side, okay? And you put them together like so, and you have a slit. Yes? So that slit is the third ventricle. Now, if your cut comes like so, you miss the slit. Okay? So eventually you're going to have a bag or a sac, which is going to be the third ventricle. Okay? Now, if you really cut in the middle, you don't have a third ventricle anymore. All right? Most of the time, it's very hard to go exactly in the middle, no matter how skillful you are. Right? So you will get to see that sac. Now, if I'm lucky, I might see it there. Let me see where was the cut. I think this is where we're going to find it. Okay? So these are the borders of the third ventricle, and this is the thalamus that makes the wall of the third ventricle. And if you go like so, you see where my